Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I'm Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are typically a Ted Lasso podcast, but
Yep.
since we went through season one and season two, we are now in stoppage time. And what are we going to be talking about today, Tom?
We're going to explore other genres of pop culture and media. So instead of Ted Lasso, we're going to do a movie. And we're going to do the movie Kicking and Screaming.
All I wanted you to say was kicking and screaming, but 10 minutes later we got there. For those of you that are joining us for the first time and looking for a Ted Lasso podcast, we apologize. You're going to have to rewind this thing and go back to when we did season one and season two.
Hit your rewind button.
Thank you. Hit that 15-second rewind one
Yeah.
about 1,000 times. That's how math works. Because we're not talking about Ted Lasso until season 3 comes out. Instead, we're talking about the Will Ferrell classic comedy from '05, Kicking and Screaming.
Yep.
We chose this one because it relates to Ted Lasso.
Yeah, because they both take place in England.
Nope.
No?
Let's run it back.
Okay.
They both have what in them, Tom?
They both have Will Ferrell.
Nope. Let's take it. Although an SNL alum, much like Jason Sudeikis,
Touché.
so
But
I'm
these
gonna help you out a little bit. Get us to
These are both soccer stories.
football, as we say in the business.
Yeah.
I'll teach you, Tom. And so we chose this film once again because of the soccer. Also because there's some heartfelt moments. Although I think when we get to those heartfelt moments, I don't know how we're going to feel about them. So if you haven't seen this movie, please go and watch it and then turn us back on. If you have seen this movie, welcome to the show.
You might enjoy it if you haven't seen this movie. We have some fun little banter back and forth. You can enjoy this movie through our voices.
You sold me on it. I haven't seen the movie and I'm going to listen. All right. So this is '05. We're catching Will Ferrell right around the Anchorman, which was in '04, and the classic Bewitched, also in '05.
I couldn't tell you was in that.
Oh, Bewitched is Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, okay, that's vaguely familiar.
Vaguely familiar. Also, Wedding Crashers. Chaz?
Before or after this?
This is around the same time. They're both
okay.
'05.
Yeah, okay.
He's Chaz, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He screams mom in this movie, just like he screams mom in that movie at
That's
one
where he
point.
got it from, yeah.
Yeah. This movie was written by two guys, Steve Rutnick and Leo Benevenuti. I know I didn't sell that right.
Nailed it.
But these guys also wrote, this will tell you their pedigree. They wrote The Santa Claus with Tim
Allen?
Toolman Taylor.
Okay.
And Space Jam, one Michael Jordan vehicle.
The OG Space Jam.
Yep.
Wow,
that's
I did
right.
not know that. Very cool.
So these two were partners together, and it was also produced by
Judd Apatow, I believe, right?
Judd Apatow. The only reason I know that is because one of the kids' jerseys have Apatow on it.
I think they do that. There's like a handful of jerseys, and I was looking this up, that are named different people from production. Like Watson is apparently like the assistant director, and some of the other names kind of pop up too.
Sure. Everyone loves jersey trivia. That's what we're here for. The obvious connections to Lasso. It's not all about winning, Tom.
No, it's like the same exact speech.
It is almost the same exact speech. Here's what I found out about myself that I found out during Lasso and also this movie. I actually don't think I believe that. I think winning's important.
Yeah, I know that about you.
So we'll see how this all goes.
Is winning important or just losing the worst?
Losing is the worst. There's also, here's the other connection. There's a lot of father and son stuff here.
Yep.
Which obviously we don't meet Ted Lasso's father, but we hear about him quite a bit.
Ted Lasso and his son.
Sure, that's true. Okay, good point. I guess I was also going to the certain activity that happens in like the first 5 minutes of this film between Robert Duvall, who plays Will Ferrell's dad,
Buck
Weston, and Phil Weston, which is Will Ferrell. What activity are they enjoying together?
Playing some darts.
Ted Lasso's favorite. So, a lot of father and son issues, a lot of soccer. Boom. There's our connection.
No, you
Won't mention Lasso again the rest of this podcast.
You forgot panic attacks.
There
were panic attacks in both of these.
When?
He's on his son's bed. He's like freaking out.
Oh,
he's, like,
that's right.
So upset about his dad or whatever. And he's trying to figure it out. And of course, how this panic attack gets solved, wife comes in the room, slaps him across the face. You good? You good? Good. Now, question is, would that have made Lasso better if Higgins just slapped him across the face?
If Dr. Sharon had hit him across the face? Listen, there's no way of knowing. Maybe season 3 will solve it for us.
We'll find out.
Who knows? All right. So Phil Weston also needs some like Beard and Kent to guide him, and he gets that like knowledge and discipline from one Mike Ditka. Yeah, and I actually thought Mike Ditka did a really good job in this.
I mean, he's literally playing himself. So
Right. I guess,
a
okay,
stretch.
that's fair. That's fair.
But I agree. He acted the heck out of himself.
Listen, here's my theory with all great, like, actors, is they essentially play a weird version of themselves, and then they just, like, hit that over and over again. Give you some examples.
Please.
Like Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn just plays like Vince Vaughn, like in like most things. Not to say he's not great in like occasionally like weird things like True Detective or something like that.
Yeah.
For the most part, like Vince Vaughn, I think is just Vince Vaughn. My second example is I don't have a second example
Ben Stiller.
for you.
Ben Stiller's another one of those
Okay.
guys. He plays the same goofy oddball character.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Okay, they just kind of play themselves, but like a version,
an offshoot.
Yeah. So Mike Ditka, give him the Oscar. Oh, that ruins the category for later. Dang it. All right. Both Phil and Ted Lasso express the importance of not winning. Wait, no, the non-importance of winning.
Okay.
I think the importance of not winning is different than the non-importance of winning.
Phil wanted to win. Will Ferrell wanted to win.
Eventually, he gets there. In the beginning, he does not.
Yeah.
And we'll make that transition. This movie, I know you want to know about the budget because you're a numbers guy.
I am a numbers guy. Give it to me.
The budget was $45 million. Do you think they made money or lost money?
They probably made money. $45 million doesn't seem a lot.
No, it's not. They had to pay all those child actors like Kool-Aid and crackers.
I guess I have to ask, like, what was in this movie that required $45 million? Wasn't a whole lot of set pieces.
All of the people? I don't know. There are so many people in this movie. Once again, because it's America, you got to pay children. I don't know why. We'll get into labor laws a little bit later, but it made $56 million.
Oh, okay.
So this is this is according to Wikipedia. Who knows? Do you remember seeing this movie for the first time? Was this like a theater movie for you, or was this one you just caught?
I don't think this was a theater movie. I think
05. It comes out in 05. Tom, who are you in 05?
I am 1 year into college, right?
Okay.
We graduated high school in 04, so I mean, it would have been up my alley just because of like.
Thank you for assuming I graduated high school and went to college. I appreciate that.
Like because I played youth soccer and I grew up with this, like a lot of this movie like resonates more so with me, just like with the dynamics with the kids. And,
okay.
Like, this is like recreational soccer, so it's just more like kids having fun out there.
Because you did travel soccer.
Yeah, like at a certain age, like around this age, like you kind of decide. Most everybody as a kid plays soccer in some form or fashion. It's whether you continue to play competitively. So maybe like 10 to 12 was when I really kind of started playing a lot more competitively and traveled and did all that kind of jazz. But I love this movie, but I don't think I would have went to go pay for this in the theater. This probably would have been like a
Blockbuster?
Yeah, Blockbuster.
Hollywood Video?
Yeah.
The Albertsons weird section where you could get Laffy Taffy 10 for $1 and check out a video. Do you remember that?
I do.
Man, we're old.
I just remember the one section of the video store where had like the old Western doors where you can go back there.
I don't think you were allowed in that section, Tom. As a kid, you're talking about the dangly beads that like let your presence known. Oh, we should say that this movie right now in the beginning of 2022 is available on HBO.
Yeah, should have led with that.
Should have led with that. Go find it. I'm sure it's somewhere. It's probably on YouTube. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a quick summary of this movie, Tom.
Go.
Here is Julian's summary of this movie.
Begin.
A team of weak, talentless nobodies is led to glory by an ambitious first-year coach. Phil, driven by a father who wants him to succeed at all costs and teaches Phil the importance of pride, winning, and being right, volunteers to coach his son's soccer team. Like any good manager, Phil recognizes the need for veteran leadership and top talent strikers. So he recruits one Super Bowl champ, Mike Ditka, and two Italian butcher apprentices who have the ball handling skills of a young Christoph Messi Ronaldo. Is that one soccer player? Or is that
That's a combo.
all right? Despite his wife and the ambitionless team holding him back, he's able to draw up the right strategy to win games. Being a student of self-improvement, he pushes his own physical and mental limits by using the natural supplement of caffeine and coffee to center himself and inspire those around him. Ultimately, he roots out disloyalty in his assistant coach, one Mike Ditka, and has the courage to bench his son to get them into the finals. In the finals, despite insurmountable odds placed in front of him by everyone he loves, his own son quitting on him, he's able to give the pregame speech of a life and adjust the game strategy. He identifies the kids need to hear the lie that, quote, having fun and trying your best are more important than winning, giving them the motivation to win. He lies to them in order to get them to win, Tom.
Yep.
After achieving victory and bringing joy to all, he shows humility by allowing his father to keep the Pele ball.
Yep.
Ball.
It wasn't like a bullish
It was
kind of thing.
it was in a bowl. It was a ball in a bowl. The Pele ball, despite being a loser, and forgives his child for being so whiny. Phil also moves in on his father's business empire and takes over. End credits.
Wow.
That's the summary. This is my summary of the movie.
I think we're done. I think the podcast has been recorded. That was something, man. Beautiful.
Listen.
Beautiful prose. Commas were probably in there.
If you haven't watched this movie and you're still with us, this is a movie where Will Ferrell is the son of a competitive soccer fan who's played by one Robert Duvall.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Duvall could not have phoned it in harder in this movie.
You think?
Okay, we'll get to it.
All right.
That's fine. Classic story. Will Ferrell is a vitamin store owner. His father owns a sporting goods store. Will Ferrell ends up coaching his son's team, which is the worst team in the league.
Not just any vitamin store. Phil's Pills.
Phil's Pills. Oh, is that the name?
It's called Phil's Pills.
Oh, that's dope. You cannot overestimate the power of rhyming in this country.
No, exactly. They were getting tied back in there.
Will Ferrell, Phil Weston ends up coaching the worst team. His father, the competitive grump, Robert Duvall, maybe the hero of the movie, coaches the Gladiators,
Mm-hmm.
the winningest team in the league. A coffee addiction happens,
yes,
which we'll talk about.
Sad,
and essentially, Will Ferrell has to deal with the parents of this loser team. I use loser lovingly. His wife treats him like a man-child. And eventually, we learn that winning isn't everything, and the Tigers win. Spoiler alert. Tigers being the team that Will Ferrell's drive and ambition brought to success.
Correct.
So, just depends on what perspective you're looking at the movie from. I'm coming from Robert Duvall's. I think most people are coming from Will Ferrell's.
You're a glass half full kind of guy.
I'm a glass half full beats the other glass into submission kind of guy.
Pours that glass into its glass and becomes a full glass.
Anyways, main characters are Will Ferrell. What's your Will Ferrell take? Like, is Will Ferrell someone like? Let me ask you this.
Can't get enough of him.
Okay, can't get enough of him. He hasn't you haven't burnt out on Will Ferrell.
This was peak Will Ferrell for me, like you mentioned.
Sure.
Like it was Anchorman. Like, and Anchorman was not received very well. You said Anchorman came around the same time or a year before. It was not received well. It became like a cult following afterwards. But like, what were the other ones around this time that you said came out? It was not Bewitched.
Not Bewitched. This was he did the Wedding Crashers cameo.
Oh, I think right after this was Talladega Nights too.
Yeah, that's
was
probably
another
right in there.
Became a big one. But yeah, I just love Will Ferrell. Like you can
You
argue
knew from Saturday Night Live, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that would have probably been my first foray into his career. But yeah, I just love because he's again same kind of guy I think you mentioned earlier who does a lot of movies, is the same general character but just kind of messes around the lines a little bit. But I loved everything he was in around this time.
No one comedically yells better than Will Ferrell. Yeah. Like when Will Ferrell's he's all fired up and he's yelling, great moment. I can remember a buddy of ours Danny having the box set of the SNL best of.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Even as we were kids there was a best of Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And I can remember going through those, our buddy Danny being a Chicago fan and Will Ferrell doing the Harry Carey impression.
Yes.
His wife in this is Kate Walsh, who's her character name is Barb Weston. Do you have any relation to Kate Walsh?
I don't know if I recognize her. She definitely had that face where I'm like, I feel like she's
Yeah,
been something else, but I couldn't put it.
right. I think she's a Grey's Anatomy alum, but I
Oh,
know
okay.
you're a big Grey head. You want to take 15 minutes and talk to us about how much you love Grey's Anatomy,
No,
which is going into its 20th season?
God, is that true?
I think so.
It's like Survivor, it just won't quit.
Oh man, Robert Duvall as Buck Weston. We'll talk about what Robert Duvall is doing in this movie, but I appreciate when they get like an older actor who's got like pedigree
Mm-hmm.
to like come into a comedy and like I don't know, just like have fun essentially.
Well, and this is the second time that Will Ferrell has had a father from the movie series Godfather.
Okay.
In the movie Elf, you had James Caan played his father, and then in
Okay.
this movie, you have Robert Duvall playing his father.
I
So
believe
very
James
interesting.
Caan played Sonny and Robert Duvall was the lawyer friend and I don't remember what his character's name was in The
Could have fooled me.
Godfather.
I only saw 3 and loved it.
Classic Tom. Mike Ditka is in this, which is obviously the Chicago Bears Hall of Famer. Sam is the son, Will Ferrell's son.
Not Obasanya.
Did not know Obasanya, certainly not Obasanya. Does not have the ball handling skills of Obasanya or the defense play.
He does have the endurance, though.
Bucky, who is Sam's uncle, which is a very funny like bit that they hit in the beginning.
Now you realize who that is, right?
I do.
That's Peter Bread from Hunger Games.
Yeah, Josh Hutchinson.
Yeah.
I think.
Peter Bread
And then the Peter Brett.
for Hunger Games.
I know, got it.
I just want to make sure.
You've got the pun on me, buddy.
Hunger
I'm
Games.
there. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. Whew. And then the other most important characters of the whole movie are, and Tom loves when I get to do this, Gian, Pero, and Massimo.
Gian Piero and Massimo.
Okay, I got there.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk best scenes, Tom.
Yeah, okay.
And I've got probably about 10 of them.
Okay.
But we can narrow it down. I'm not gonna lie. This movie starts in a way that it's kind of like a normal like SNL like comedy, like when SNL used to take characters and transition them into movies.
For sure.
Like the beginning, like it hits certain wickets that you're just like, oh, that's normal. Like him young in college, but he doesn't look like a college person.
Yeah. He's just in the clothes, his really bad wig, and
40-year-old Will Ferrell trying to be a track star in college.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff. Like the last 40 minutes of this movie, like blow my mind. Like there are parts in it. Anyways, best scenes, stuff I loved in this is, and maybe this goes to my Roy Kent moments where Roy Kent is coaching kids and he's screaming at him. Mike Ditka yelling at these kids when he's like making them wash his car. There's the scene where he's like yelling at them, and then it ends with Byung Sung carrying his trash through the yard.
Yep.
And Mike Ditka, this grown man, like giant guy, is watching Byung Sung struggle with these 2 bags of trash. And he's like, well, I'm not going to take it out. Like,
he's like, how's this supposed to help me with soccer, coach? He's like, it's supposed to get my trash from here to there.
So great. So great. The other scene was there is a moment where Barb and Phil, so Kate Walsh and Will Ferrell, are talking about stuff in the bedroom. And like, listen, I've been married a long time. Sometimes I don't see the signs. I don't claim to be an expert.
Okay.
But I'm almost positive Barb is making the moves on Phil. She's like rubbing his shoulders. She's like giving him a massage. She's giving him the signs. And this is when Phil starts to cry. He falls on the bed and starts to weep. And that scene, I like that scene. It just hit too close to home.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
anytime someone's making a move on you and you start crying, and this is where Barb's like, "I love you," and Phil goes, "What does that have to do with anything?"
That is a great line.
It is a great exchange.
I feel like my favorite scene in the movie is, that resonates with me whenever I think of this movie, I immediately go to it, is the coffee scene.
Hands down, best scene in the movie.
He's at the coffee house and he's in the back of the line. He's now officially like hopped up on coffee and he needs it. It's his lifeblood. sit in the back of the line. Lady's taking forever. And that lady, she's not SNL. She is Mad TV, right?
She's Mad TV. Her name is Alex Bornstein.
Okay, yeah.
And she also does the voice of Meg from Family Guy.
Oh, okay. Wait, no, that's not true. Meg from Family Guy is Mila Kunis.
She does one of the characters
the
on
mom.
Family Guy. Okay,
she does
the mom.
Lois.
There you go.
But him in the back.
We got there. We got there. We're professionals.
But him in the back of the line screaming for her, like, "Hey, hurry up! I'm a frequent drinker here. I've got a card, sir. We don't have frequent drinker cards. That's a Blockbuster card."
Yeah.
Throws it down on the ground in disgust, and then he gets kicked out. It's just the whole sequence is fantastic.
Screams his order from the back of the line, which. If you ask anyone that lives with me and has been married to me for a number of years, the things that bother me are like sitting in traffic, and that also relates to waiting in a line that's not moving at all.
You don't like queues.
So I'm like not the person you want to invite to an amusement park, unless it's like the day COVID hits and there's no lines, but Six Flags is still open. No, other scenes. You're right. The coffee scene. By far is the best scene.
Trevor, I thought we were friends. Yeah, it's not Trevor. It's Hank, or what was his name?
Not that. But I'll hit it when we get to best quotes, Tom. The other scenes I like are Tetherball. At first, I watched Tetherball and I was like, "Why is this scene in here?" But then, as it progresses, and like he dumps the gator on it himself, and he just goes all Will Ferrell. I was like, "All right, I'm in on this scene." And then. Where this movie like blows up for me and just gets incredible is where Phil comes out in like the blue tracksuit. He hasn't sewn the tiger stripes on yet. He's just in the blue tracksuit and he's talking to Mike Ditka and he tells Mike Ditka to go get him a juice box. And he's like, "I'm looking at the juice box guy." And Mike Ditka's like, "You're crazy." He's like, "I'm not crazy. Thirsty. I'm just thirsty." And then he sends the parrot on the lap. He's like, "Take a lap."
Well, it's like my Dick leaves. He's like, "All right, bye, juice box boy." He's like, "Everybody wave to the juice box. Everybody wave the juice box."
When Will Ferrell dials it up to like lead tasso at 11, I was all in on that.
That was great.
This is that all happens right before we learn our lesson, and like the music gets sad. Like we have like a series of Full House moment. That's really good.
Rest in peace, Bob Saget. It was very sad to see him go.
Yeah, it's sad when anyone dies. This also gets us into the semi-final sequence where he has sewn the tiger stripes on, and he's yelling at kids, and he like pushes a kid down. And the ref's like, "Did you just push that kid down?" And like, it's just Will Ferrell being frantic and great, and I loved every bit of it. He throws a chair like Bobby Knight, which is on the coaching pyramid. On the Bobby McKnight coaching pyramid, I think throwing chairs is top. We talked about John Wooten's. Wooden, his pyramid. Wooten is one of the. I was going to say clan member, but you can't say clan member. I mean the Wu-Tang clan. Not the other clan.
Gotta specify.
We're going to get canceled. It's all right. All right, movie nerd stuff, Tom. Let's talk movie nerd stuff.
Movie nerd stuff.
Go ahead.
Go.
Allow me to explain movie nerd stuff.
Please.
Tom and I, both students of film. We both went to film college. RISD. I went to Juilliard, where I learned about film. Do they have film at Juilliard? I went to UCLA Film School. Where'd Spielberg go? I went to Spielberg School. I really appreciated, during the introduction of the Italian Butcher's Apprentices, Gio, Massimo,
Mario Luigi.
I'm gonna say Massimo and his brother.
Okay.
They do this thing where, like, in their first game, they take the kickoff, and they do no music.
Yeah.
They just do. It's just the ball sound. You like see the two brothers working together, moving the ball down the field. Like, obviously, I'm a huge football fan. You know this about me.
I do.
I love the Chelsea. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Man U.
I don't think you can like Chelsea and Man U. That's like sacrilege.
Whichever one's winning. That's where I'm kind of at.
Currently Chelsea, then.
Okay. Don't know what that means. But when that scene, like, where it's kind of showing us, hey, these guys are good, instead of doing, like, the weird, like, woohoo music that they play in every, like, sports sequence, they do later.
Yeah.
They just, like, have it silent. And it's, like, the parents are all like engaged and watching, and I don't know. I really liked. I know this movie didn't win any Oscars, but I really liked what they did in that moment. Like the silence kind of like drew you into what was happening.
Yes, I had the same exact sentiment. Like I was like midway through it because I think they did like a losing montage earlier with the team just getting destroyed before the two Italian kids joined the team.
Sure.
And then yeah, boom! The second it kicks off, they blow the whistle. Then it's just silence until they score that goal. I think it was like there's a lot of headers going on, which we've talked about. Like they don't really do a whole lot of headers in youth sports anymore
because of the brain damage.
Because of the brain damage. But yeah, really cool sequence, and I like the introduction of the two characters.
Was there any other like movie nerd stuff that you enjoyed? This one wasn't shot by Deakins, so there's not a lot of like one shots, and this is like a popcorn movie. Like this is a movie I would sit down with my kids, like they would enjoy it, they would love all the slapstick stuff, but it like moved at a good pace. There's like a lot of parts where I laughed, where I don't know, like I don't know. It's better than any PG movie has any right to be in terms of like a sports movie about kids. And I think it hits a little bit harder like at the age we're at because you're not yet at the age where you're like coaching on your kid's team, but as someone who's had to like volunteer coach for things, the way Phil like enters it where like all the other parents are like, hey, I would, but I'm super busy. And the other parent's like, I just lost my job. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. And he's like, I guess I can coach. Like, that's exactly what happens. Like, there's a vacuum.
Just for today. And then you get stuck into it.
Right. And then you get stuck into it. And then there's certain things, like, where he's dealing with the kids and they're, like, misbehaving. Like, there's a one moment when Byung is taking the cup and he's just, like, hitting it on his knee, making the noise. And he's got to be like, hey, can you not do that with the cup? There's this weird thing where it's, like, someone else's kid. And you're like, well, they call me coach, so I'm now allowed to yell at your kid. Like, it's authorized.
Well, and throughout the whole, like, movie, the parents are always kind of huddled there. It's not like you drop your kid off to the soccer game and then you leave. So when he's, like, you know, telling Byung something like to stop, his parents are right behind or whatever, kind of, like, going quietly and judging.
Judging how he handles Byung's son, which I'm not condoning Will Ferrell when he goes like full Ted Lasso, but when like the other parts where he's still nice Will Ferrell, it's pretty funny to watch. One of the games I like to play when I'm watching a movie, Tom, is Who Is That Guy?
Okay.
Which is, and this is a movie from 2005, so like all these people have kind of gone on to do other things. But did you spend time watching this movie, like seeing an actor and an actress being like, I know who that person is? Like, what are they from?
Robert Duvall.
Okay, Robert Duvall. That's a good one, Tom. No, I mean like the background people, like the parents and stuff like that.
I kept seeing this dude in a captain's hat the whole time, who eventually like announces the game at the end.
Okay.
Did you see that guy?
Yeah, no. He's dressed like he's a sailor.
Yeah,
a good man.
I looked this guy up. I mean, he was in other stuff, but nothing I recognized. It was just such a weird character choice to have this guy dressed in this captain's hat the entire thing. He's just always a background until, for some reason, he announces the game.
Sure. Well, it's the championship game.
So you need an announcer.
It's funny, like, when you're in youth sports, the things that, like they let you play at a stadium, or they let you do this, and you're like, we're going to have an announcer at the championship game. You probably have more experience than I do in these things, but was there a time when you were a kid where it was like, we were playing in a game that was like, hey, we're playing at like the ASU stadium or something like that.
We did like one of the state championship games. Like we played at, it was like a community college or whatever, but it was one that had like big stadium seating and all that kind of jazz. And they actually did have a commentator. Not that they really knew any of us or knew anything, but they would like, I'd kick the ball downfield like, number 11 kicks the ball.
Number 11,
Tom kicks the ball.
Number 11, Richard, own goal. No, you were a good soccer player. No,
but that guy. So he's not necessarily a guy that I would like say I saw from other things, but he was a guy that I saw and I'm like, this is weird. This stood out to me. But what else? Who else did you see in this? That was
the referee. So the referee, where Phil's like, familiar. Hey, we've been neighbors for 7 years, and the guy's like, no, that's not where I know you from. Did that guy look familiar to you?
He did. Where was he from?
Okay, he is from Office Space. He is Michael Bolton.
That's right.
Michael Bolton from Office Space.
Wow. Okay.
I did not care for the toupee joke. I feel like that was I don't know, derogatory towards bald people. And as someone who may go bald at some point in his life,
You got a gray head of hair, man.
thank you.
For now.
I'd set that all up just so you'd compliment my hair. Ooh, really fished for it. Did you notice this one? And I know you had to have noticed this one. The coffee shop patron. He's got like the cookie when Will Ferrell's like ordering his first cup and it's too hot.
I don't know if I did.
Did you not notice this?
No,
Is this a bit, or did you not notice this?
No, okay, wait. Not the barista, right?
Not the barista. The baristo. Male baristas are called baristos. Or burritos in certain cultures. You're welcome for that joke.
I appreciate how proud of that you were.
Let me write that. Actually, let me timestamp that so I can put that in my Hall of Fame reel, please.
I don't know. Maybe I did. But
Martin Starr, man. Martin Starr from Silicon Valley. You did not notice Martin Starr from Silicon Valley is one of the... He's standing to the left of Will Ferrell. Obviously a Judd Apatow guy because he was in Freaks and Geeks and all those. But I didn't. Do you know the guy I'm talking about from Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
He is in the coffee shop. He is the one that like has the giant cookie as Will Ferrell's like doesn't put the sleeve on the cup. That's Martin Starr.
That's it. Okay. Completely missed it. I was
Tom's
so
a
focused.
Huge Silicon Valley guy, so I'm surprised he didn't see one of his...
The first season of Silicon Valley, great. Then they started kind of petering.
All right, our next podcast will be on Silicon Valley, but just the first half of season 1.
No. All season 1. The end... Now you're going to start me.
No, don't do it.
We have to bleep all of this. Episode 10 of Silicon Valley has one of the funniest jokes ever. And it's worth watching all 9 episodes that precede it just for this one joke.
I couldn't do it. It was too...
It's a tip-to-tip ratio.
Oh, no.
Tip-to-tip ratio.
You did it.
No, right. That's... Don't know what that means? Watch the show, watch the season. You'll figure it out.
My recommendation is... Listen to Tom. Who was Uncle Bucky? Uncle Bucky? We already talked about this. It was played by... Josh Hutcherson of Hunger Games.
Hutcherson?
I don't know. I just know he was shorter than Jennifer Lawrence in Hunger Games.
He's a little guy.
And I would have chosen the lesser Australian brother.
Lesser Hemsworth?
There he is. But I also have some bitterness because my wife really likes Thor.
Who doesn't, man?
I don't. Connor's father, so one of the player's father, I think he's the goalie, plays, and this is a deep cut. The actor's name is Phil Lewis. For anyone that's watched Scrubs being created by Bill Lawrence, Bill Lawrence being the creator of Ted Lasso.
Keep going.
Phil Lewis plays Hooch in Scrubs. And there's always a joke where they're like, Hooch is crazy, and Hooch is this like angry doctor who always gets mad at them.
Okay.
Anyways.
I don't think I saw that. Was that later seasons? I don't think I saw.
It's like a throwaway joke in Scrubs.
Okay.
It's a real deep cut. I apologize for those of you that don't watch Scrubs.
3 people are going to love it.
Are you familiar with the coach that forfeits? The guy that's like, hey, one of my kids didn't tie his shoes or didn't have his shoes.
That's when they came and they're all like, they came from the butcher shop.
They're all covered in blood.
Right. Which I would argue, was that too much to have a bunch of kids covered in blood? Did it not go far enough?
Nope, I loved it. We need to know where our food comes from, Tom.
But that coach, he is from 30 Rock, right?
30
One of
Rock.
the head writers from 30 Rock.
That's right. Not only is he he's an actor, but you're saying he's the head writer in the show.
I guess I don't remember. It was like Liz Lemon was the head writer for.
Oh man,
here we go.
Let's wrap our minds around this.
Yeah.
When you say he was the head writer, are you saying he's the head writer of the actual show 30 Rock? Are you saying in the show 30 Rock he is the head writer?
Both? Question mark?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think he wrote. His name is Scott Adsit, and he plays Pete Hornberger.
Okay.
And in the show, he is the head writer.
Yes.
But for the show...
Very meta right
now. Oh man, we're going to get there though.
You're good.
Where Tina Fey... So like, say Tina Fey is a writer and producer.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott Adsit is also a writer and producer, but I could be completely wrong. But in the show, he is an actor that plays the head writer. You are correct.
Okay. I tried to. Oh wait, there he is. Scott Adsit. I'm searching the internet.
All right. Well, you're talking about that. We already talked about the woman who parks her. Do you remember H2 Hummers? Do you remember when those were a thing?
Oh man, yeah.
As someone who has to drive through Scottsdale, Arizona, those H2 Hummers existed.
Yep.
Man,
Big old rims and all that stuff.
listen, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I don't think I could possibly like someone who ever owned an H2 Hummer. I don't think I could be friends with them.
Why?
Because
Because of the environmental.
no, I don't care
impacts.
about the environment
Okay.
so much. It's gonna last as long as I'm alive, so that's all I care about. My kids are on their own. I don't know. There's something about an H2 Hummer. Just have a normal Hummer. I'm okay with a normal Hummer.
Normal Hummers used to be a thing. You used to see those around. Like, and then the H2 came out and it became like a luxury vehicle.
I didn't even like the look of the H2.
Ugly.
And knowing it got like 2 miles to the gallon.
They just came up with a new one though. They came up with like an EV Hummer.
Oh, that I'm on board with. Yeah,
Really defeats the purpose.
definitely.
Of like a Hummer.
Nothing says cool like electricity.
But I appreciated the joke because, like, what Phil comes in with the Prius.
Yeah.
She's got the Hummer. Did you have to park and take up both spaces? Like, yeah, I've got a Hummer.
Have you seen this thing? And she says something like "Go granola" or something to him.
And that is the lady from the Mad or whatever. That is later in the
Alex
Borstein,
Borstein,
yeah.
who is also in.
Does the voice of Peter from Family Guy?
No, man, we're gonna get there.
Bob's Burgers.
Lewis from Family Guy.
Louise, yes.
My favorite line of hers was, "Ooh, a smoothie. What's in that?" So good, so good. All right, I'm gonna hit some favorite quotes here, Tom.
Hit me.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read the quote, and you're gonna tell me who said it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And you're gonna do it flawlessly.
Of course.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen me do trivia. Pretty good.
Yeah, you're. Well, I've lost to you 2 seasons in a row. I take a vitamin every day. It's called steak.
That's Ditka.
No.
No, it's not Ditka. That's Bucky Weston.
Bucky, Robert Duvall. All right, 0 for 1.
Dang it.
Are you a robot woman?
That's Will Weston.
Phil Weston.
Are you a robot? Are you a robot woman?
You can call me Chief. I can't. I didn't do the voice right, but
Try
you can call me Chief. I can't do it. You can call me Chief. No, that's not how it works. All right, we'll skip that one.
Wait,
Don't add us.
No, I gotta know who that is. Who is that?
You can call me Chief. It's Byeong-sung's mom, the dark-haired one.
Okay. Don't remember that.
You don't remember? They introduced themselves with like, "Hey, we're Byeong-sung's mom."
Very progressive.
And she's, he's like, "Oh, you're better than the other parents," which is what Will Ferrell says.
Yes.
But she says, "You can call me Chief." Anyone
okay.
that introduces themselves and says, "You can call me Chief," you're a friend of mine. I'm not going to soccer practice with a dirty car.
Allen Iverson.
Nope, Mike Ditka. Practice. I got punched in the face by Hall of Famer Mike Ditka, and I did not go down.
That's Phil Weston.
So good. So good. He's like, I was wobbly, but I did not go down. I'm breaking my back for you, coach, because of my love of the game. Listen, I don't know that character's name. I'm going to help you out. It's the bigger kid on the team.
Okay.
But the way he delivers that line, he's like, because I was breaking my back for you, coach, because of my love of the game. That kid could not care less. As someone who is the father of not a sports kid who has to be on sports team, I really like that kid.
So he was the bigger half of the mega person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Zip it there, Sporty Spice.
That is the lady we've been talking about.
Yeah, Alex Bornstein. Yeah. That line, I think, is probably one of the top lines from this movie.
Agreed.
When she delivers that. What's wrong with you, Derek? I thought we were friends. My name is Andy. Your name is Liar because you're telling lies.
That is Phil Weston getting kicked out of the coffee shop.
When he comes back, he's like, I probably won't come back here. And then he like walks in and then he comes back and they have to hold the door. Oh, I love it. You either win and go home on to greatness, or you lose and probably face a series of cataclysmic events for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite quotes. That is a Phil Weston. That is his a hype speech for the championship game. Loved it.
It's so good. It's so good. We've talked about previously sports movie speeches and how like they're all done or they're all in the same vein. But
Not this one.
hey,
Points for originality.
man, you're either going to win or the rest of your lives are going to suck is a really great speech. I can eat a box of cookies for dinner if I want to. Can you do that? No, because you're just a fart-faced kid. Listen.
That's Phil starting crap with the gladiator kid.
Oh, man. Anytime an adult in this movie is shouting at a child.
This is why we love Royce so much. It's just a great dynamic.
It's so good. Oh, man. And then my final one.
Hey, why don't you ease up on the kids, man?
You ease up on that corduroy jacket of yours.
Oh, I gotta get a corduroy jacket.
Please
I'm pretty
don't.
sure I have corduroy
Please do,
pants.
actually, so I can say, hey, you ease up on that corduroy jacket of yours.
I think I might actually have a corduroy jacket in my. Oh, I should have worn it.
All
Should have
right.
worn it. Missed opportunity.
I'll open the windows and let the winter air come in, and you can wear your corduroy jacket a week.
What's up, y'all? It's Joe Budden. It's my favorite part of the holidays, Prize Picks. The best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving millions in player rewards.
Download the Prize Picks app today and use code TACKLE and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code TACKLE on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
All right. Jokes that we liked during this movie that you kind of had to catch, you kind of had to search for. I don't know if you realize this, but so Buck Weston has his first child. Mm-hmm. He names that child Phil Weston.
Correct.
He gets remarried and has another child later in life. What does he name that child?
He names a Buck, so it's Junior.
It's Junior.
Not his son. It's his original son.
I always think it's funny, like, hey, you weren't good enough for my name, which you don't know when a child's a baby.
He knew.
It would have been funnier had he been like Buck and then he changed it to Phil. And then he's like, oh, I have another one. I'm going to try Buck again because you don't deserve.
Well, he knew. In the original, the start of the movie where it shows Will Ferrell as a baby, that baby is actually a girl. It's played by a little girl actor.
Actress?
Girl actor baby. Actress.
Sure.
So maybe that's why.
Okay, that's fair. Why. I love the moment where they hand Phil the parenting book and they're like, our child is shy. And he looks at the book and the book is called My Child is Shy. Great. Just, I don't know. It tickled me. It was a great moment. And then I really loved when Phil is giving the speech at like the coaches meeting. I don't know if these things exist. They're like
the dinner thing?
Yeah, he's at the dinner and he's talking about the old coach and he's like, the truth is no one knows where he is and people are worried. The crowd laughs. I don't know why that's funny. And then the crowd claps. That whole bit, just the way, like, Will Ferrell plays confused better than most people. That's why he was such a good George W., the greatest president. But did you have any favorite jokes?
I do appreciate him bringing all the children finches. Like, oh, we have to keep these? You get to keep them.
I want to know who came up with that. Who was like, oh, he's going to show up. Like, he read it in a coaching book. Like, oh, teach them to, like, love something and care for it.
Yeah. But
that
in that next scene where he's at, like, the little soccer bash at that bar, like the Chili's, I guess, he's like, I might have inadvertently poisoned your children because they had salmonella.
Those parts are salmonella. Sorry. This was a little bit reminiscent of Ted giving everyone a book. You know, a little bit different. You don't have to feed books, but you'd have to read them, which is almost as much work.
I do also appreciate that Ditka goes to like the butcher, and like he specifically asks, or like the butcher says, "Oh, we've got those bratwursts for you," which is kind of a tie-in to like the SNL and the Ditka character that was always just choking on sausage or whatever.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
I don't think the word bratwurst is Italian, but I do appreciate that they got him some bratwurst.
Yep. I do have an appreciation for the mom that runs in and just slathers sunscreen all over the ginger kid.
Man.
As a half ginger, since I have a red beard, I can feel for that kid because I always had to lather on sunscreen when I played soccer.
I love sunscreen. Love sunscreen. It's gonna elongate my life by at least 2 years. Some details, some stuff that happened in this movie that, I don't know, maybe on the 12th watch, I really appreciated. The welts on Phil's body when he's playing tetherball.
So heavily done over in the makeup.
Yeah, so his face is red, if you realize, because he's taken the tetherball to the face a couple of times. And then he takes his shirt off. And I don't know, there's something about Will Ferrell and Chris Farley would do this as well.
Yeah.
They just weren't afraid to take their shirt off and just own it.
Yeah.
There is a whole SNL skit where Will Ferrell's in nothing but an American flag Speedo. I guess he's in a tank top too.
Yeah.
And he's doing a business meeting. And the whole joke is just this hairy guy who's spilling out of this is funny.
And he plays it straight, right? He's he's wearing a suit.
He's not bothered by any of it.
This is me.
Anyways, the welts on the circular red welts on his body. Great.
How quickly they formed too. I don't know how long they were playing tetherball.
Like a lifetime. Did you pay attention to the memory of the Pele ball when the Pele ball comes in?
Yeah, where he rifles it over the goal. It falls into Phil's hand. He catches it as a child, and his dad yanks it away from him.
So great. Very telling about who old Buck is as a character. I really appreciated that.
Well, the best is his follow-up line to that. He's like, oh, Dad, can I have this? Oh, no, you can have the next one.
You get the next one. As a bunch of... Tom, have you ever gone to a live game and gotten a ball or anything like that?
You don't get to keep the balls. You got to throw them back.
Okay, not a soccer. Let's say not a football game. Have you ever been to a baseball game or a football game?
Yep.
Let's say a basketball game. Have you ever taken a basketball from a basketball game, Tom? Like a Suns game?
I've won a ball from a WNBA game because I participated at halftime and I beat all those other brat kids in bump out.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, I was a brat kid too.
What age was this?
Middle school.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you not being a brat middle schooler. I like it. I once went to a baseball game and got a foul ball.
Yeah, nice.
Everyone else stood up. I was too cool to stand, so I just sat there. Everyone else missed it and rolled over, hit my foot, picked it up. My dad looked at me. I was like, "Oh, you can have it." I handed it to my dad.
It was a reverse.
And then I couldn't care less. And then this lady next to us was like, hey, if you guys don't want that, I'll take it. And we were like, no, we're going to keep it. And actually, somewhere in this office.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's right there. It's on those books over there. I put a date on it. I looked up the game. I put the date on it. And it's when me and my dad went to a Diamondbacks game.
Well, look at that. That's pretty awesome. We used to go early to Diamondbacks game when they're doing batting practice. And we'd be in the outfield trying to get the home run balls.
Okay. All right.
So.
Soccer adjacent, baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. There is a moment where Phil uses a payphone.
Oh, multiple times. He uses a payphone multiple times in this movie.
I'm pretty sure 2005 we had cell phones, right?
We did. Yes. Original iPhone came out in 2000.
I believe I had a cell phone in college. So
cell phones
say
they exist.
I had a cell phone. I didn't know that text message existed and how to checking, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways, he's on the payphone. He's trying to talk to the butcher, and they start singing "Happy Birthday" in the background. And he shouts at them. He's like, "You're not the only ones in the park." There is, if you listen to it with subtitles, and maybe you can hear it over the sound, a girl starts crying. There's just this crying as he goes back to the phone. So he hurt the birthday girl's feelings, and that was a great joke. The slow progression of coffee addiction, I do appreciate.
Where he says no, I can't. It's a stimulant. I can't do coffee. And then it goes to the montage of him it's a deep roast.
Yeah,
or it's a Colombian whatever.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then we have this coffee cappuccino maker on the bench, which doesn't allow the kids to sit down. It's just his coffee maker.
And it makes loud noises. They scoot away from it. I feel like it was
Where's the heat coming from, Tom? Does he have a wood fire stove underneath?
He's got a generator. It goes to his car. It goes to the Hummer.
Oh, man. Hummer. That's great.
But I do appreciate that they use that so he can then kick it over later.
Yeah.
In defiance.
I don't know if you noticed this, but the move that Sam uses in the classic sport movie moment.
Mm-hmm. I got it written down.
What's that called?
It's the Maradona.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got a name.
It's named after,
I was putting you on the spot, hoping you didn't have anything.
It's named after Diego Maradona, who's a famous Argentinian soccer player.
You don't have to tell me. I love Argentinian soccer.
It's like, I mean, yeah, it's just like a step over. I think it has potentially some other names, but yeah, it's he was getting taught, by the other kids or by the Italians, right? They were like teaching him this move, and then boom, he gets to use it at the end of the movie.
Listen, I'm not going to question any of the kids acting in this movie. They're all fabulous. But when Sam is like purposely not doing that move, he is falling so hard and like not even they were like, hey, you got to act like you can't do this move.
Mm-hmm.
That kid, like, he kind of goes up, steps on the ball, and then just falls down. And I was like, let's run that back, director. Let's run that back.
He touches the ball and like the ball's poisonous and he just falls over.
Yeah.
He's not even like stepping over it.
Great sports music movie when the Tigers win. I love all the music. It's great.
What did we get? Did we get like We Are the Champions?
I don't remember. I did not write it down, but if I had a guess, yes, they probably We Are the Champions. Tom, who's the hero of this movie?
Starbucks? Big coffee lobby?
Big coffee? Yeah,
coffee
probably.
Lobby?
Probably.
Who was the hero of this movie? I mean, Ditka was pretty great.
Yep, I agree.
I don't know, man. Who do you have as a big winner?
My hero of this movie is Phil's drive and motivation to make the Tigers great, and the fact that he solves the goalie's blindness. I don't think I really realized this until I watched this multiple times, but like there's a through line where the goalie apparently can't see. That's why it's the issue.
Well, so when I rewatched this, because I watched this a long time ago, I remembered.
Sure.
I couldn't remember if it was this movie or like The Big Green, the other soccer movie we had when we were kids.
Classic Green Big movie. Never heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about.
But like I remember them giving a kid glasses, and like I'm pretty sure it's this kid. And if you watch the entire movie, every time they show the Tigers getting scored on, this kid that's a goalie is hopping the other direction. He is never close to the ball.
See, I didn't know if that was a character thing or just a movie, like a bad kid acting thing.
I think they were setting it up. They realized this kid is not see. He can't see the entire movie. So it's if you rewatch it now, you get to rewatch and see. Oh, it's because this kid cannot see.
Tom, did you ever play goalie as a kid?
I did. Yeah.
For like a long time, or was it like, hey, just put you in goal for like a game or two?
No, I think it was probably actually my first and last job being a goalie. I played goalie like later in life when I played
in
indoor.
your 30s?
Yeah, like men's leagues because I couldn't hack it. We played indoor and I could not last on the field because I had to run too much, so they'd throw me in goal. But when I was a kid, I played goalie very briefly, and we went into overtime. I was the goalie in penalty kicks. I sucked, missed almost every ball, and then I think I took a penalty kick and missed it, and I cried my I just balls of tears as a little kid. Never put me in goal again.
What age?
It was too much for me. Oh, it was like 7 or 8, probably.
Tom, I think I know why we're friends.
Go on.
I played goalie as a youth.
Yes.
And maybe I've shared this memory, maybe I have not. It feels like you just stole it from me. I was a goalie. During penalty kicks, there's a home video. My dad is home videoing me doing penalty kicks. After I let like the first 3 go through, you can like hear him muttering, and he turns the camera off because I'm like clearly distraught.
You're like hunched over, your shoulders are shaking, whatever. You're crying.
I remember like the camera cuts off, but I distinctly remember like they kicked the last one in and just falling into like a ball of tears.
You drop on your knees and try.
If I bring this up to my father right now, he like visibly gets upset. Like he still remembers how painful it was to watch me go through this. Here's what I think is important. Losing makes winning all the more sweeter.
Yeah.
So that memory is the reason why I hate losing. I hate losing to you in cards. I hate losing to you in that damn shuffleboard game. All because so it's funny. You and I both had a penalty kick memory where we got destroyed as children.
Yeah, apparently penalty kicks are very bad on goalies' egos. Because you never think about that. Like somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, and like if you're when I played youth soccer and had to take penalty kicks, it is the most like nerve-wracking thing ever. Like I
Okay.
was a decent striker. That's
Sure.
what I played when I was younger. But man, like I would get all of my head and just crush it over the goals or go way wide as opposed to just putting the ball on frame. That like it did something to me and I would get crazy frustrated.
Well, it's a team game until penalty kicks,
Yeah.
and then it's just a goalie game.
And
And
they
if
could
that
say-
goalie's no good, man. Anyways,
Yeah.
one of my poor painful memories from childhood. I should call my dad. Tom, give me more. In this movie, give me more. Is there something that you saw and you were like, hey, I want to spend more time in this movie with? I'll give you mine.
Go.
Synchronized kids celebration dances.
They did do some of them.
When
didn't
they score and they do like the ball as a bomb and they like they all circle up, they throw the ball and they all fall over.
Yep.
This is the same thing when I'm watching a football game and the defense is like taking the time to like work through a choreography. The same thing when they did Bye Bye Bye.
Mhm.
We love a team choreography. I could have had more time with these kids celebrating goals and doing silly stuff. I enjoyed that immensely. And that's during like the winning montage
Mm-hmm.
with the woohoo. I'm sure music played.
Did they do that? They didn't actually play the Blur song, did they?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Did they?
Every
Okay.
sports movie's got to have it in it.
I guess I know you had mentioned like the last 40 minutes, like when he goes like full lead Tasso and just gets in on
Pump it
coaching,
into my
and
veins.
all I got to do is win or whatever, and just destroying all these kids. I appreciate the montage of him like sewing his new like jumper or whatever. It reminded me of like Spider-Man or whatever. Like Spider-Man's like sewing his new thing,
Sure.
or like Deadpool, he's like gonna make his cool uniform. And he shows up, and not only does he have like the perfectly sewn like stripes going all the way down to match, but he's got this just amazing tiger on the back, which almost makes it seem like he should be like part of like a dojo or
Yep.
something. Like it's
Yep.
his gi.
After he was done
fantastic.
coaching kids, he goes and teaches them how to karate kick people in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in a body bag, Johnny, or whatever the
Yes.
line is. No, I'm with you. I do appreciate as someone who's had to sew something every once in a while. It takes a little bit of practice, so
Yeah.
it would have been funnier had his suit been like off kilter in terms of
Yeah.
the stripes. It's kind of like the movie The Edge. Have you ever seen The Edge?
I've not.
So The Edge is Alec Baldwin and who played the serial killer in Silence of the Lambs?
That is one Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Okay, Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin get like lost in Alaska.
Okay.
They kill a bear and they make like clothes out of the bear, and they're like super sweet tailored bear outfits. Like they're like, wait, you're surviving in the wilderness? When they come out, they're like slim fit like bear suits. Anyways, rewatch it; it'll change your life. It's a great movie, The Edge. Tom, who in this movie? It's Oscar season, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oscar season 05. Kicking and Screaming, front runner. Who are you giving the Oscar to in the whole film? For best acting.
Best acting, supporting actor, lead. Does it need to be lead? It could be any
Any acting category.
acting category. I would say it's Byeon-sun. Crushed it.
All right.
Don't
Crushed
think the kid did anything else throughout his entire career, but every little line that little kid had was fantastic.
Very funny. I loved when he followed Phil over to the coffee machine just to kick it to death. That was great. Mine would be Mike Ditka. He's a football player. He shouldn't be this funny. I thought he was great in this. Although, to your point, he did just play himself.
I do appreciate when he has like smoking cigars. He keeps handing it to Phil, and his wife comes in and yells at him.
Getting in trouble. That was great. Tom,
Yeah?
not for an Oscar, but who was in this movie for a paycheck? Who just showed up, did their work, and left?
I'm assuming you.
Robert Duvall, Tom. Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall is like laughing through his lines.
Yeah.
He's like, and it's like, no, I don't know. I mean, he did fine. He played the part, but he was.
I
Just
mean,
like,
he dressed up like a jester or a king or whatever to do the "We've Got Ball" sequence.
Got
Like
balls.
he was in. He was all in.
All right. Anyone you felt like just showed up for a paycheck?
Maybe that one kid that kept.
Oh, we're
he had
gonna
the
get
longer.
to him.
He had the longer
We're gonna
hair.
get to him.
Like I got you banned.
No, we're gonna get to him in a second. There's a different category for him.
Okay.
Heartfelt moment. My heartfelt moment, Tom, seeing the pure joy on the children's faces when they won, because winning is important.
Winning is everything.
I'm not even going to say it was when the Tigers won. I'm going to say it was when any kid's team won even when they were beating the Tigers. If you look at the kid's winning face, winning's important. Winning matters. I'm going to go on record.
Okay.
Is it the most important thing in the world? No. But is it important? Yes.
Is it more important than losing?
It is so much more important than losing. As 2 failed goalies can tell you.
From experience.
Yes.
My heartfelt moment, it had to be the butchery. You gotta appreciate good butchery because meat comes first.
Meat comes first.
Mm-hmm.
So your heartfelt moment was just seeing a family work together.
Mm-hmm.
They've come to America. They're like building something.
Yeah. And then Phil showing him how it's done with a chainsaw.
That was great. That was great. So for Christmas, my brother requested a unique snack, which is a really weird thing on a Christmas list.
Okay.
So I drove down. I found a local place that does handmade sausages and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I went in there. No one spoke English. But I bought like some, I don't know, Polish sausages, some like spicy mustard. I did all this. It was really cool. I walked up to the case. The lady was like, "Oh, what would you like?" I was like, "I have no idea." I literally pointed to something. I was like, "Is that cooked already?" She laughed at me and she goes, "No, that's not cooked, but this one is." Because I was like, "Oh, I just want to wrap it and like give it to him. I don't want to make a chore of it." But so go to your local butchery. It's kind of a fun experience. They still exist out there.
Are you going back?
I will go back.
Okay, nice.
Our refrigerator still smells like the Polish sausage that we held in there for like a day before we wrapped it.
That's worth it in and of itself. Just it's like an air freshener.
That's right. My brother said it was really good. So I'm going to go back. Tom, questions I had from this film.
Yep, I got all the answers.
All right, I'm going to fire them at you.
Yep, hit me.
Tom, do you know what a whirling dervish is?
A whirling dervish is like a Tasmanian devil, but different.
Okay. So they reference a whirling dervish. You're wrong, by the way. I had to look this up. It's like, I didn't realize this. I thought it was just like a cultural dance.
Yeah.
But it's like a Sufi, I think I'm saying that right. Sufi Muslim form of meditation in the form of like spinning movement. It's like a religious ceremony. And I was like, did not know that. As someone who studied religion in college, did not know that. But I thought that was interesting. So there you go. Go look it up. My next question for you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Are there child labor laws in Italian butcher shops?
In American Italian butcher shops, I believe there are. Right? And I feel like if you got a shop, then there are. If it's on a farm, then anything goes.
I feel like if 2 kids of the age of John Ralphio, I'm going to say, and Massimo, is that right?
Sure.
Are in a back room, like kicking wadding around, not allowed to do anything else. I think we need to question what's going on in this butcher shop.
And of all places, a butcher shop that's riddled with knives and, uncooked meats and other things like that. Probably not the most sanitary environment for a child to be in.
I don't care about the sanitary environment, but these kids are what, like 10? Like,
sure.
What are they apprenticing at 10 in a butcher shop?
Gotta learn how to butch, man. I think that's what it's called.
I also think the assistant in that shop is someone, like, you recognize him as well, but I did not look him up.
Like the nephew or whatever. Like the
guy that answers the phone. Yeah. Anyways, child labor laws. Let's go into it a little bit more.
Listen, this was 2005, man. There were no rules.
Things were different. That's true.
Yeah.
It's the Wild Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when Wild Wild West, the next movie we're going to be doing, came out. Tom, as someone who participated in youth sports, did you spend a lot of time at your coach's house? I bring this up because there's 2 scenes. There's one where they're in the living room, and Phil's like, hey, here's an instructional video on soccer, and he just keeps kicking the ball into the crate. And I don't know that he hands out DVDs. I think he hands out... Does he hand out DVDs?
Yes, he does.
Okay, it's DVDs. All right. And then the other one is they're all camping in the backyard. And he's like, everyone howl at the moon. He's like, we're warriors. And the neighbor's like, shut up. And he's like, you shut up. Classic Will Ferrell. How much time did you spend at coaches' houses, Tom?
Not only did I spend a decent amount of time at coaches' houses at like parties and events and things like that where we got the whole team together, but I also spent time at my coach's cabin in the woods where we would all go and do like a nature kind of like.
What age is this?
This was around this age, maybe maybe a little older, but
Okay.
around this age, yeah. Like he had a cabin up north in Munns Park,
Okay.
and we would go there and we would like do soccer practice and stuff. So it was like kind of a soccer camp or whatever. But we would all like stay at his cabin, his house, and we would do the same kind of thing. Like I don't think we had tents. I think there was enough room inside for us all to kind of do sleeping bags and
Other
stuff.
than that one kid, he had to stay in a tent outside.
He did, yes.
Sure.
He lost the talent competition, so if he lost the talent competition, he had to sleep outside.
Tom?
Yeah.
Were there talent competitions?
There were talent competitions.
Oh my goodness.
We had all the fun, man. It was a good time. It was a good crew.
The things I missed out on not being an elite youth athlete, these weird coaches retreats in cabins in the wood and talent shows. I'm assuming he made you do like a Broadway number as a team?
Oh yeah, he made us do Broadway numbers.
Is
full Monty.
that where you Monty? Tom, we're gonna get in trouble here. Is this where you learned like the Backstreet Boys choreography?
I don't know what I did as a talent show. I remember one of the kids did. They sung.
Byung song?
No, Byung song. They sung the Fugees, like "Strumming My Pain with Your Fingers" or whatever that song is.
Nothing you said makes sense to me. That doesn't even sound like a sentence.
They sung a Fugees song. We did.
Is Fugees a band? What is this?
Fugees is a band. It's Lauryn Hill and I can't remember the rest of them. I feel bad for not knowing them.
Please don't. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm going to move on. I'm glad nothing happened at your coach's house when you were a youth. And he gathered all these young kids together and forced you to live in his cabin.
It was not Boy Scouts.
I'm sure. Oh, shots fired. All right. Byung Sung had no right shooting that goal, right? When he takes the shot on goal in the finals, he had no right taking that shot, right?
Sure. I mean,
Tom?
Yeah.
Tom?
It is.
You want to win the game.
It is the finals.
You want to win the game?
Was that before? Was that when like the team was like?
No. This was past the Italians' time still.
Okay. So they were getting fed up with it, and they're like, "Hey, we want to play too." So then, instead of passing the Italians, they shot.
No, this is still we're still in past the Italians. No one else take a shot.
Okay, so he shouldn't take the shot.
No,
you got to follow the game plan.
But
you listen to your coach,
Tom. You watch the film. You see him take that shot. That ball is like it's almost like rolling down a hill towards that goalie.
Yep.
Does Byung Sung, even if the game plan is past the Italians, does he have any right taking that shot?
Yes. He's a kid.
No,
Yes.
he does not.
He's a kid.
You take that kid out of the game. He has no. No, you put him on the defense. That's what you do. All right.
Well, now that you say that, that's what they did to me. I used to play striker, and they realized I sucked at shooting, so they put me in defense. I'm learning a lot right now.
Tom, you're welcome for not having to pay for therapy. You're getting it right here, buddy. They stole the flying V from Mighty Ducks, right? That's a Mighty Ducks moment.
Do they do the flying V in this?
He throws the ball in the back of his neck, and then they like run forward in a flying V.
Now I don't even know if that's legal. I don't think you could do that.
No, certainly not legal.
And if it is, you can just probably push over the guy, and you'd be okay.
Yeah. But they stole it from Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks is a movie about hockey, for those of you that don't know.
Yep. Not a duck movie.
Did the coffee plotline feel tacked on?
No.
Did it feel like a no?
Integral.
Really?
Needed it.
Okay. No, I'm not saying. Well, I'm not saying they didn't need it. Did it feel like it was something like that was notes later on where they're like, "Hey."
I think when you're writing this movie, that's one of like on your postcard or whatever or a note card, you write, "Hey, he's got a coffee addiction. It could be funny," and they put like a bunch of jokes with it, and then they kind of figured out, okay, at what point can we kind of bring this?
Sure. Knowing this was a Judd Apatow film, do you think the first like rendition was he had a meth addiction, and they were like, "Hey, it's PG, Judd, we can't do meth," and he was like, "All right, cocaine," and they were like, "No."
Is Judd known for his drug addiction?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. No, I'm not saying he does them.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying in the movies that he makes.
What movies does he make? So it's like a bunch of drugs.
21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. Are those Judd Apatow?
I mean, they seem in the same vein, but
they do seem in the same vein.
Those aren't like drug-related movies.
What are you talking about? They're busting up drug rings.
I guess
that's what we're doing next. Okay. Last question. The most important question. Is the most important thing having fun and trying your best?
I know your answer. But my answer is, at this youth level, 100%. Recreational soccer that these kids are playing, they should be having fun. Trying to win every game for sure, but having fun and having a good time. That's what it's all about. That's what youth sports is about. Once you get to a different level and you start traveling and play competitive, it changes. What they're playing is rec soccer. They should be having fun. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. But I do think that something gets lost when you don't keep score and you don't appreciate, you can't appreciate losing without appreciating winning.
Mhm.
I do
Two
think,
sides of a coin.
let's say in life, like at a job, as a professional,
Okay.
like advancing in your career, like all those things, there's a level of competition. Doesn't have to be cutthroat. You don't have to be a jerk about it. But
I do.
like to be better at something or to further yourself and grow, a lot of times the only thing you have to compare yourself against is the people like around you. And so it
Yes.
is a competition. And so I do think there is a degree of competition that drives us as humans to be better.
Yeah.
I do think there is some value in winning matters and like some triumph over adversity.
For sure.
Isn't the most important thing, like to the point of Buck where he's like abhorrent, and I guess we didn't even mention he loans his own grandson to the worst team in the league. And he goes, I traded you. Well, I didn't really get anything for it. Just a great moment.
No,
All
but
right.
I mean, like, I feel like, because I played so much youth sports as a kid, like a lot of soccer, baseball. I played football when I was in high school, but I think like the competition that I grew up with and like the camaraderie and like winning and losing, all that stuff, I do think it's like kind of made me into the person I am today, just with the relationships I built, like understanding like the triumph and victory and the rough parts of defeat. So like, I get it, and I'm very glad that I played a lot of youth sports because I think it kept me out of other things too.
Right. And I think I see the difference in like when kids are really young and they don't keep score and they like just like I understand like having them in there just to learn the fundamentals and like let them have fun and kind of let them learning to have like a passion for it.
Yeah.
But I think at a certain point, like a competitive atmosphere helps people grow. It makes them like try harder. So I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
Is it the most important thing? No. Here's what we're gonna finish on. And I kind of skipped over this, but this was moments I didn't need in this movie.
Okay.
Moments I didn't want to spend more time with. I'm gonna start with this. I don't need to watch a kid eat a worm.
The worm eating kid, that was weird.
Wasn't my favorite.
Clearly not a worm. Clearly a gummy worm when he's eating it.
I watched through the credits and it said, unfortunately, worms were harmed during the making of this film.
False.
So I
He'd
feel
be
like
all up in arms on it.
they were like, hey, kid, you're not going to get this acting job unless you'll eat a real worm. And that kid committed, and look where he's at now.
I got one.
Oh, go ahead.
Did you notice when Phil was drinking all of the like espressos and doing like the shots? There's clearly nothing in any of these cups.
Tom, this is why we're friends. There's nothing in any cup. They can't put water in it. I don't understand why Hollywood or movie-making endeavors can't just put liquid in cups. Give some weight to that cup.
Yep.
Every time you put it down, it's like a hollow foam or a styrofoam thud. Drives me crazy.
Could have
Good
done
for
without
you.
that.
Tom?
Yep.
I need less of Mark Avery.
Mark Avery is
the long-haired character who one of my moments in this movie is where Phil takes over coaching and they're like, "Oh, who's the starters?" And the kids are like, "We don't know." And he's like, "You, no, not you." He picks everyone else but the long-haired kid, sends them all onto the field. That's the only kid on the bench. That kid, he's like, oh, I gotta keep my pimp hands
strong. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I didn't. What I did appreciate about the character is they let the parents fire back at him. They were like, shut up. Or like they were just like putting him in his place. I didn't appreciate that. I think he's like he was in like a Disney show. He's like he was like a child actor that was in things.
He was when I looked up, like when I was looking at the cast of the movie, I see like, oh, are some of these child actors doing stuff now outside of Pita Bread?
You love that joke?
No,
Good for you.
But I looked at this cat like now, and unfortunately, he's very, very bald now. So he had that
okay.
beautiful mane. I know this is a rough subject for you, but I feel bad because he had a beautiful mane in this one, and now is balding.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
There's this, I don't know, there's a certain type of humor. That kid did not hit my funny bone.
Yeah.
But the parents yelling at him did, and Phil putting him in his place did. That being said, that was kicking and screaming. If you're at this point and you have not watched the movie, go watch the movie. It's a lot of fun. Watch it with your kids. It's a good time. It's good to catch Will Ferrell in like his Will Ferrellist moments.
It's not like the highest rated reviewed movie of like Will Ferrell's, like I think this is kind of like the seminal part of his career.
Like I don't think it's going to garner a huge audience.
Yeah, when you're looking at some of the stuff, like apparently this was a movie that he loved to do. Like it was like a passion project for him because his wife was pregnant during the movie and they had their first son or daughter, I'm not sure, their first child during this movie. And apparently he said in like interviews or whatever that while he was filming this, he kept thinking about being able to watch this movie with his kids like later in life, which is a really, really cool thing. But, what would you guess it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, on Rotten Tomatoes, I would say it's probably middle of the road. It's probably like a 50%.
41
really
for
lower.
critic, and 43 for audience.
Well, we should have picked a more appreciated movie. I mean, this is not like a movie I put on my desert island, but it is a movie that, like, when it comes to soccer and like sports and just like, it's just fun. Like, you put it on. There's a bunch of points where I laughed, and once again, at the age that I'm at, where I'm dealing with kids like coaching in sports, it hits a different funny bone than, you know, if I would been like in college. Like I just don't know that I would have related in the same way.
It was a fun rewatch. Yeah, like sometimes you can go back and watch movies like this that you kind of saw when you were a kid, like, oh, these were fun, and then you go back and watch them like, man, that didn't age well. This aged well. It was still a fun, loving flick that you can watch with the family.
Sure. All right. Well, at this point, we're going to leave all of you, and we're going to have our own private discussion about soccer and coaching sports. The next time we're with you, we are going to discuss a different movie, and I can almost guarantee most of you have not seen this movie. I have actually watched this movie, but Tom, what are we going to do next time?
We're going to keep it in the Lasso verse, and we're going to check out Super Bob, which is a Roy Kent joint, or what's the
Brett
name?
Goldstein.
Brett Goldstein, yeah.
Brett Goldstein stars in a movie called Super Bob. It's a very British movie, which is great, and it's on IMDb TV, which for those of you that have Amazon Prime will allow you to watch. That's how I watched it. I watched it through Amazon Prime for free on IMDb. But we're going to keep it in the Lasso vein. It's really interesting to see Roy Kent not play Roy Kent, like, because he is not at all Roy Kent. It's very, anyways. So we'll talk through that one, and we appreciate you sticking around for this. Obviously, our goal was to talk about Lasso, but despite our strongly worded letters to the makers of Ted Lasso, they wouldn't do it in time for us to do a podcast, so we've had to pivot. I have been Julian.
And I've been Tom. Thanks as always for joining us. And if you ever want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at Team Binge, or reach out to us via email at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great one.
Thank you.